Hey friends, happy Wednesday. Ren here with the Friends of a Feather podcast, and I want to share with you a couple of things that you can do today to get started and take a step to having your own podcast. Okay, so let's go back 4 years, all right? By the way, why do I always come on here when I don't have a lot of makeup on? I did wash my hair today though, so that's good, right? My son's doing piano, and so I wanted to come and share a few tips of what I did 4 years ago. I started my podcast. I remember where I was driving. I knew that God was calling me to start a podcast. I had no clue how to do it. Yes, I know how to do basic technology, but I did not have really any clue about how to start a podcast, like no clue. I did not know that I needed a hosting website to host the podcast on. I did not know that I did not know the technology, the software to use for recording. I did not know anything about microphones. I did not know anything about how often to post a podcast. I did not know how who my audience was at that time. I kind of knew that. I knew my topic, but that was it. I did not know. So I want to share with you about format today. And then, so you want to start a podcast? You need to decide on the type of format for it. Okay, so you need to ask some questions of yourself. You need to say, okay, am I conversational? Do I like to talk to other people? Do I want to bounce ideas off of other people? That would be a great interview podcast if you want to have people come on your show and you interview them, or you have a co-host that you bounce ideas off of. So that's one type of format for your podcast, okay? Then a second type of format for your podcast is monologue. So a monologue is just what it is, one person talking, you talking and sharing what your topic is for the podcast, okay? So you can be this way where you are sharing a devotional thought if you are wanting to do that. If you are in business for yourself, you want to explain and share behind the scenes of your business. If you are a product-based business, maybe you want to share about the product that you have available, okay? Maybe you're in the ministry and maybe you want to share about something that God is teaching you, or maybe that you have a heart for women and you're wanting to share about how women can increase in their faith, or maybe you're going to do a Bible study on a podcast. All of that is totally feasible in the second type of format, which is monologue. Okay, so we did number one, we talked about the format of interview style podcast. Number two, we talked about the type of podcast that is a monologue, okay, where it's just yourself sharing information. Okay, number three, the third way to have the format is a Q&A. Okay, so Q&A is if you have a small business or you have a ministry. Say that you like to share a devotional thought with someone. So the Q&A could be where you are having people either come on the podcast, you're having people leave a voice recorder for you and sending it to you, and they're asking you a question about maybe something you shared the week or two before. A Q&A could be great if you have a business, a service type business, and you have a lot of questions that people always ask you. Like, think of it as an FAQ, of frequently asked questions. You can have their questions just emailed to you, and you read the questions and then you answer them. So that is another type of format, is a Q&A. if you have a product-based business and you have products that people ask questions about, kind of the same thing with the FAQ, frequently asked questions. They type in their questions. They could type in their questions on a DM on Facebook to you or in the comments, and then you read those on your podcast. Okay, so that's the 3 type of formats: interview style, monologue, and Q&A. Now, some of my clients, I am podcast coaching. I actually launched today with my podcast coaching, but my past clients have said that we kind of talk about like which one they're going to choose. But here's the cool thing: you don't have to choose. You can do all 3. I have one client that she does all 3. You don't have to, but you can. So she does the monologue. She does the interview once a month. Monologue is mainly what she does. She shares Instagram tips. She does interview style, where she has people that are in her group, her membership group, come on, and she interviews a past client. That's number 2. And then she has a Q&A. And so I don't want you to get locked into just thinking that your podcast has to be one type. Decide and look at what you're good at and then do that. You can do a combination of 2 of them. I have another client that has a combination of them. I even have a combination of those. I don't do Q&A, but you know what I do? I'm sorry, I'm 14. I'm so sorry. The first thing, I do interviews. Okay, so every week I do that. But this coming week, when I'm going to introduce all of the summer podcast series that I've been hosting on health and wellness, I'm going to do a recap. So I'm going to do a monologue. So you don't have to stick to just one type of format, okay? But think about what you're good at. Okay, so that's what I want to share, the 3 types of format for your podcast to think about. Here's what you can do for your podcast. If you want to start a podcast, here's what you can do today. Baby steps, girls, baby steps. What you can do today is I want you to grab my freebie, okay? And I just shared one part of that freebie, okay? I shared one little bitty part, and there are many, many parts. It is a podcast workbook. So what I'm going through are things that you need to do before you start your podcast, things you need to think about, things you need to grab. I've done it for you. I have pulled all of that for you so you know, oh, I need to do something. Okay, this is what you do. Go to renrobbins.com/podcast workbook. I know this is probably backwards, so I need to start here. I'm doing it like I'm reading. So you go to renrobbins.com/podcast workbook, and you can get all of the things that I think that you need for you to start your podcast, okay? I cover topic, I cover equipment, I cover format, I cover your audience. I cover all of those things and resources as well. So I wanted to encourage you with that today. You can do this. This is the first step you can take in starting your podcast, okay? So think about the format that I shared with you, and then go get that freebie. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right, have a great day. Yay! Oh, I forgot to tell one more thing. I tried to click finish, but I didn't. I am starting my podcast coaching today, okay? So my podcast coaching slots, my program opens today. It is a 12-week program where I will take you from start to finish on your podcast. There's some people driving by in their bikes because I'm sitting outside in a neighborhood because my son is doing piano. But I have that launching today, and I have just a few limited spots that I want you to grab after you get the download and you're like, okay, I've got these. Okay, I've gotten this done. Now I just need some help. I just need some customized help. I will be there to walk you through it, to hold your hand through it. But if you can't do that right now, no problem. Grab the freebie and you can get those tips for you and start today. All right. Bye, guys.